Alright, my friends, welcome to episode 356 of Prof and Dev Play Games. We're just chill here, relaxing, got a different intro today. Just gonna take it nice and slow because the Dev forgot to tell me. It's his anniversary today. Happy anniversary, Dev. So he's not here. It is me, by myself again, just chilling, relaxing in the booth. Going over the news this week, and I swear to God, every time Anthony is not here, there's fucking Witcher news, and that is what we have this week. There's kind of a lot of cool news this week, and obviously the news that I'm the most excited about is how much fucking Witcher games are coming. And I know they're not coming for a very long time, but it's kind of cool to see a roadmap of all of the Witcher games that are coming. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Mario's butt, or lack thereof. Talk a little bit about Overwatch 2. And I guess Sony has decided they want to remake another game. So we will talk about that as well. Kind of some big stuff this week. Why don't we start first with CD Projekt Red. CD Projekt Red had an investor call, I suppose is what it was, and they laid out the roadmap for what's coming next from their studios, basically. So they've got 3 tracks that they're looking at long term. They're looking at The Witcher, they're looking at Cyberpunk, and they're looking at a new IP. So we've got a new IP called Hadar, I think is what it's called, and that's done by CD Projekt Red. I'm not sure. I'm sure that they've done something that has not been a licensed IP, but if not, this may be the first time that they've done their own IP. So it's nicknamed Hadar. So something coming from CD Projekt Red in the future. Cool. Be nice to see them do something different, I suppose. But what we're really here for is the known IPs. So we've got Cyberpunk 77. There's a expansion coming out next year called Phantom Liberty, which I think is a pretty cool title, actually. And that will be the last part of the Cyberpunk 2077 sequence, which has a bit of a resurgence right now, as we talked about a couple of weeks ago. And then they've got something codenamed Orion, which is done by CD Projekt Red as well. And this will be the sequel to Cyberpunk 2077, hopefully taking the learnings from the mess of the launch of Cyberpunk 2077 and doing something that will excite the fans. You know, obviously the Cyberpunk world, the IP, is something that a lot of fans of tabletop games, at least, there's lots to chew on. There's lots of lore and world building there. So hopefully the CD Projekt Red can kind of build on the excitement that Edge Runners has brought back to Cyberpunk 2077 and deliver something good with Phantom Liberty. Because if they can hit the ground running, if that's a really solid entry in the Cyberpunk series, then I think there's a lot of good momentum moving forward to Orion whenever that comes out. So then with The Witcher, it's a little more confusing. I think there's actually 5 games coming out from The Witcher IP. So we've got something called Sirius, which is done by the Molasses Flood. They're the ones that did, I believe, the Flame and the Flood survival game. So they've got an IP by them, a game from them in the Witcher universe, and it's supported by CD Projekt Red. Then we've got the new Witcher trilogy, which is, I suppose, following from where Witcher 3 left off, with a new Witcher, I assume, and I hope it's Ciri. It would be really cool to have a Ciri trilogy, but I suspect it will probably be a build your own Witcher. So that means that the third item here, Canis Majoris, which is done by a third party with support from CD Projekt Red, it sounds like a one-off game. Maybe that's a Ciri game. So we'll see. The new Witcher trilogy is by CD Projekt Red. I think they're pivoting to their North America studio, basing it in Boston, with support from Vancouver and other places. So the new Witcher trilogy, they said when the first game hits, all 3 will be out within 6 years, which I fucking doubt very, very much. But, you know, it's fine. Witcher 3, there's just so much content there. I'm looking very forward to the next-gen update that's supposed to be supposedly coming out this year. I was hoping to hear about it in this investor call. That I, will have so much Witcher to replay that I can wait. It'll be fine. But it's exciting to think about there being that many games in the future. And CD Projekt Red is basically saying, like, here's our next decade of work, investors. Please invest in us, because our stock price plummeted from, what was it, like $36 or $37 or something like that, all the way down to $5, which I think is where it's at right now, 5.5 or something like that. So digging a little deeper into The Witcher, we've got Project Sirius, which is an innovative take on the Witcher universe, telling an unforgettable story for existing Witcher fans and new audiences. That's the one by the Flame and the Flood. It's currently in pre-production, and about 60 people involved in that. Project Polaris, which is Project Polaris, which is the trilogy, a story-driven open-world RPG built on the legacy of Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Currently in pre-production. CD Projekt Red's working on it, the beginning of a new Witcher trilogy. All 3 games aimed to be delivered within a 6-year period following the Polaris release. Bullshit, but if they could do that, it'd be nice, because it's this nice cadence of games for the investors to see people buying, yada yada. Project Canis Majoris, story-driven, single-player, open-world RPG set within the Witcher universe. Contracted to be developed by a third-party studio led by ex-Witcher veterans. So we'll see. Hadar is a new standalone IP distinct from Witcher and Cyberpunk, developed 100% internally. IP incubation since 2021, and currently in the conceptual phase by a small strike team. So, there you go. That's what CD Projekt Red has coming up. Pretty exciting. Of course, the closest thing is Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty, but we'll see where they go with this, because it's a nice roadmap, and I'm excited by hoping they've learned from their Cyberpunk debacle to actually take time and develop something that lands on its feet when it's launched. So there's that. Also this week we had the new the movie for Mario. The Super Mario Brothers movie trailer came out, and people, these characters in the Mario universe are not really voiced. I mean, they're voiced, but they don't say much. It's like a bunch of one-liners. Like, think of Charles Martinet when he says, "Let's go," or whatever he says from Mario. It's, I couldn't really hear a whole movie with that voice. So they did a bunch of really big casting for this movie. Chris Pratt is Mario. You got Jack Black as Bowser. You got Charlie Day as Luigi. Keegan-Michael Key as Toad, and all the way down. So people were just, I think I'll speak for myself. I wanted to see what the animation looked like. I was hoping for something akin to Smash Brothers, because the animation there is just top notch, which I think it delivered on, to be honest. The animation's killer. And then to hear the voices. And boy, almost every single voice I thought worked really well. I thought Jack Black as Bowser stole the fucking show. Jack Black's Bowser doesn't sound like Jack Black, which is good. I'll get back to that. And it just sounds menacing, and just it's a really filled out voice for Bowser. It's really cool. I love the premise of the trailer with the penguins from Mario 64 fucking fighting Bowser. It was awesome. This hasn't been on my radar, this movie, too much, but I'm so excited. I really hope I can take my daughter to see this. It looks amazing, the animation, the callbacks to different characters, and like it looks, at least from the trailer so far, that it's lovingly created by people who actually play these fucking games, which is nice. So I suspect we'll see some sort of 8-bit, 16-bit kind of throwback at some point, a la Super Mario Odyssey. What I didn't really care for was Chris Pratt's voice. It was just Chris Pratt being Chris Pratt. And that kind of takes me out of it. I'd rather hear Mario. If, the other characters, the other voice actors are doing voices that are not their own voices, I would like to see Chris Pratt do a different voice, and that's disappointing. So hopefully in the fullness of the movie, it'll sound different, but that trailer, at the beginning, it sounded just like Chris Pratt. Other news this week was Overwatch 2, which I'm not playing. It's a free-to-play game now, and it just got DDoS'd, fucking just driven into the dirt by DDoS attacks. And then, a lot of people wanted to play as well. So a lot of people are having trouble getting in. People were queuing for hours. Apparently, you need to have a phone attached to your account to get in. And then some phones, like I think Cricket Wireless, for example, you can't really log in with Cricket Wireless. At least you couldn't at the beginning. There's just a lot of problems Overwatch 2. But when people got in, they said that the gameplay was good. Maybe not a new game, it's worth. Like, Overwatch 1 servers are down and dead, and I'm sad that I wasn't able to get in there and play before it launched, or before it died, but I'm not. Bobby Kotick is still at Activision Blizzard, so I'm not touching a fucking game from that developer until he's gone. And I'm sticking to it, even though the rest of games media seems to have completely forgotten how much of a fuck that guy is. So, I haven't forgotten. So, I will wait. I'm still waiting to play Diablo 2 Remastered, because I have principles, and I fucking stick to them. Speaking of remakes, Horizon Zero Dawn, there's some news that Horizon Zero Dawn is potentially getting a remake or a remaster. And some people are up in arms following the Last of Us, remake of the remake, basically. Built from the ground up, but, full-fledged $70 for a game that's been remade twice now. And people are kind of thinking... at least I've heard the chatter, like, Horizon Zero Dawn just came out, you got a PS5 upgrade already, what do you need this for? And it's because they have a show happening at Netflix. It's fucking business. Just like Edge Runners, right? Drove people to go back to fucking Cyberpunk that people hated, and now they actually kind of like. The Witcher drove people back to Witcher 3. Surely The Last of Us on HBO is going to drive people to The Last of Us. It's just money, right? And if you don't want it, don't buy it. Right, it's there for people who are like, oh, I saw this show. What is this game? Oh, fuck, that's great. Let me pick this up. It'll sell like crazy. So, remaking games that recently just came out. Blah. But if you don't want it, don't buy it. And I don't plan on it. Unless there's like I guess like a Uncharted Legacy, Lost Legacy, not Lost Legacy, but the Uncharted Thieves Collection or whatever it was called. It was like $10 to upgrade to the PS5 version, and I did that, even though I still haven't got back to those games yet. I've beaten them and would love to go back to them, but there's limited time. Speaking of limited time, my daughter, speaking of playing games, my daughter and I have finished Astrobot for like the third time. Astro's Playroom, I should say. And she wants to play Paper Mario again, which is the game that I've played the most on Switch. My daughter and I have played through Paper Mario twice now, and we're just starting our third time. And Paper Mario and the Origami King, still a great game. Fuck, I love that game. So I'm really excited that we're going back through it again. I didn't think I would be, but we're having a blast so far. So I've been playing that. I played a little bit of Super Mario Brothers 5, which is that fan-created thing on Mario Maker 2. Only played a little bit. I like 2D Mario games. I especially like 2D Mario games, like full games developed by Nintendo. I wish they'd do another one. So in the absence of that, it's nice to have this fan-created thing. But so far, it's all right. It seems like Mario levels made by a non-Nintendo person, and they're not bad. So I'm looking forward to digging more into that. But otherwise, have had no time to play. Been working so much. And then at night, in my spare time, I do make some music to de-stress from the so much work. Suffice to say, the election is in a month, a little less than a month, actually, a month from yesterday. And I'm stoked for the fact of it being over. So hopefully all the work we're putting in will bear fruit. You just do your best and see how the voters land. But yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to move on. Get back to my regularly scheduled life. That'd be nice. But it's been a galvanizing experience and a lot of fun. So despite my bitching. So don't feel too bad for me. Last thing is San Diego Padres beat the fucking Mets, and the Seattle Mariners beat who were they playing? The Mariners beat the Blue Jays. So two unexpected wildcard teams are in to the division series, and San Diego is going to get a playoff game here, and that's pretty exciting. So, anyway, this has been episode 356 of Prof and Dev Play Games. Just me again. Anthony the Dev will be back next week, and we will wish him a happy anniversary this week and hope that him and his wife are doing well. And we will see you next week. If you like us, rate us on your podcast service of choice, and we will see you again next week. Adios.